Hi everyone, welcome back to another new launch studio review series. Today we'll be reviewing Bloomsbury Residences.
Open Grand PSF is trending around the range of 1,003.
When we convert it to a 3 plus flexi, it's actually about 5.15 in terms of length.
Step 2, 3 and 21, they are 5 bathers. They face internally towards the pool.
So just to introduce in terms of the location first and foremost, we want to have a look in terms of where we are located at. So I've just put up street directory right behind me over here. So Bloomsbury is actually located right along here. So if you look at the entire map, this is the entire District 5 that's located down here. So just for orientation purposes, we have of course the One North developments that's happening within this area, this whole entire area right here. Then of course you're going to have your Commonwealth MRT stations as well as your Cambridge MRT stations that's nearby. Then you have your one-off MRT station that's down here as well. So the Bloomsbury Residences is located at, we're just located right along this black and white bungalows that's on what we call it the Wessex estates. So a lot of black and white bungalows will be located here. Then you have a one-off developments that will be located down here as well. So I think some of the exciting things that's of course happening around this area, there's a lot of people that's going to be talking about is going to be the one-off transformation that's going to be here. So I think as of now, it's still being transformed up. So there's going to be a lot of introduction in terms of talent pools that that Singaporeans are going to bring in to this space. Then at the same time, this is also going to increase in terms of jobs, in terms of your tenant pools here as well. Then other than that, if we look at the entire area, actually staying on this part of Singapore also allows like residents over here to stay here for longer term to come, because if you look towards my side here, you also do have NUS that's located down here. You also will have a couple of other educational institutions that's located down here as well. So I think if you're staying down here, whether you are like a family that's staying down here, definitely for your kids, they're going to be studying around the area for many years to come. So likelihood some of the clients that we've met, they have stayed in this place for at least 12, 15 years itself. So I think it's sort of the location that you probably don't have to move if you're staying down here, and also a location that even parents that want to have nearby connectivity to their kids' school so that they don't have to fetch them back, this is a place that they're going to stay here as well. So other than that, moving on towards this side, we of course will have Queenstown that's located down here. So this is where your famous $1 million HDB flats will be located at, which is here. Then a lot of condominiums along here have also shown really good performance. Then further up, we're going to have the Dempsey areas that's located down here. So tons of like eateries that you can get to enjoy over there, and also all the GCB homes will also be located along like Swettenham Road. So I think in terms of location sites, we are considered in the rest of Central Core region here for you. So we are located close by to some of the CBD's amenities, but nearing the area itself, you're going to get tons of amenities. Other than the transformation here, if you've been to sort of the One North areas here, is a huge place that a lot of people come here to work. So there's also going to be tons of like amenities, eateries that you can find down here. If not for amenity sites, you can always hop on to Star Vista, which is a huge shopping mall there already for you, connecting to Buona Vista line, which is already a dual line here. And in terms of connectivities inside this one-off region, it is done up as more of a car-like town. So a lot of the amenities and different condominiums here, they do not have like one-to-one parking, but what has been provided is that there are shuttle bus services that's located in this one-off region itself that allows for the guests or like the residents over here to actually travel throughout One North. So I think this is a pretty creative idea. So it allows us to have lesser CO2 emissions in this area. And then at the same time, for Bloomsbury Residences, there will also be a shuttle bus that's provided for 1 year that will lead you directly to one-off MRT stations as well. So I think in terms of connectivity, conveniences, it is really done up as a work-live-play kind of like lifestyle for anyone that's staying down here. So hopefully that's a good introduction in terms of where we are located at. So also just want to zoom in. So if you were to look, Bloomsbury Residences will be roughly around here. Then this is going to be where the SLA black and white bungalows are going to be located at. So it's really beautiful because this entire estate here is all going to be like greenery facing. Then the other portion sites is going to be a one-off transformation that's down here. So in terms of views wise, you're going to get dual views. One that's facing kind of down here. There will be a block that's facing down here as well. Then the other side is that you'll be facing towards the media police sites. Right now there hasn't been any construction done up there yet, but there will be developments that's coming up in the future. So this is also to have a look in terms of the master plan, because we also want to understand what are some of the developments that will be happening as we're staying around there. So for context wise, we can also see the legend over here. The orange color ones will be zone residential zonings. Then you have this kind of like maroon red kind of color that is representing Bloomsbury Residences. So it is a commercial on the first story and residential on the higher story. So down here you will have a combination of shops spaces that's located in Bloomsbury as well. And if we look further down, which is kind of where we mentioned before in terms of views, so just to recap, views wise you get the black and white, or either you'll be facing towards Media Police. So that also means that in terms of the views wise, if you're facing down here, do take note that in the future the views might be actually blocked because plot ratios of the plot in front of us are also slightly higher than ours. So there might be a chance in terms of the views getting blocked. But if you want something that is a little bit more unblocked, then you can also face towards the SLA black and white bungalows. Now as of now, we've seen sort of where the SLA black and white bungalows are located at, and majority of them haven't really been like demolished and built into high-rise condominiums. I think likelihood the government wants to also retain its historical value because it does have really nice attributes as well. So just something to take note of, especially if you are kind of planning to stay around this area and also hoping for like the developments that's happening around. So you can see business parks will be located blue. So this is towards the one-off transformation site. So it's still being done up right now. Then you have, of course, other land plot sites over here that has already been bidded. There is going to be a sort of a mixed commercial and residential zoning here for you. So I think whether or not you choose to live, work, play here, there's definitely going to be conveniences and amenities for you to enjoy. So let's also have a look at the site plan. So in terms of site plan sites, just to have a better understanding in terms of the overall like unit distribution, we can also have a look in terms of where the unit types are located, because majority, more than 50% of them are located on the 2-bedroom portion. Then you'll be surprised to know that there isn't actually any one bidder that's present currently right now. So I think this is a really good move for the developers, because I think they have also studied in terms of the absorption rate for the one bidder site. They're definitely maybe a slightly lesser, so they have actually switched up their strategies to actually do layouts that allow for the market to enjoy and allow the market to absorb as well, which is going to be starting from like the 2-bedder portions here. Then we're moving on. The rest of it is going to be your 3-bedroom, your 4 bedrooms, and lastly it's going to be your 5-bedroom. There's even this amazing like 6-bedroom penthouse that's going to be there. So that's going to be something interesting to take note of as well. Developers are Qingjian development, so they have done a lot of notable like projects, for example like your Jadescape that has been done up over there as well. So they are not new kids on the blocks, definitely someone that's going to be very experienced. And as we dive into some of the layouts in terms of the site plans, you can actually see that they came up with pretty interesting kind of developments here as well. So if we want to have a look in terms of the facing, so this is kind of the facing that you will be expecting if you are facing towards probably the southern side. So the whole project actually is sort of an angular kind of facing, so you have a bit of north east facing and then a bit of southwest facing towards the end. So if you're facing more towards the southern part, this is kind of the views that you can get to enjoy. This is of course like the southern side seashore kind of views, but do take note that in the future these land plots here may come up as well. So yeah, just a recap is that in the future there will be building blocks that will be coming up in front of that. Then at the same time on the northern portion side, this is going to be where the SLA bungalows are going to be located. So I think it's a pretty nice view. You have SLA white bungalows, there's black white bungalows that's here. You also do have HDB clusters that's located right along here that's pretty low rise in nature. So that's also going to allow you to have a good distance away from neighboring plots and just to enjoy some of the greeneries, especially when you're coming back from a hectic day of work. So this is going to be predominantly northeast facing. Then also just to recap, it is zone residential. It's still subject to detailed plannings, but based on past sort of experiences, likelihood they're probably not going to do anything much or anything soon for the black and white bungalows over there. Then lastly, it's going to be this angular. We do have the third block that's kind of facing towards this eastern part as well. So that's also going to be facing towards the greenery portion that's going to be located down there. Right, so this is the facade. I think it's done up as a very like naturistic theme, because if you look in terms of the whole entire like theme that's down here, this is the black and white bungalows, then the facility zonings are going to be located down here. So as mentioned, there's going to be a mixture of that residential portion, that commercial portion. So the commercial F&B stores are going to be down here, and also all of your facilities are going to be located on level 2 itself. So they're not on the same level, just in case you're thinking about that. So level 1 is going to be your F&B shops and retails, then level 2 is all going to be your facilities. So one very unique thing for Bloomsbury Residences that stands out across the other sort of GLS site that also has a residential commercial is that the commercial portions for Bloomsbury is actually up for sale. Now the rest of the residential projects, they are not for sale. So I think what this means for you is that, let's say for example in terms of pricing sites, you're also a little bit concerned in terms of the pricing. You will also know that in terms of developer sites, likelihood if they have commercial units that's available for sale, chances are a part of that sort of the profit margins will also be catered towards the F&B side, thus making like the residential portion a little bit more affordable, because their profit margin they might actually seek towards the commercial space to actually earn from there instead. Right, so really nice style that's done up. Oh, and there's also this really beautiful like roof terrace that's being done up here. The blocks are also of different levels, so I think really naturistic and this frameless kind of like design. So this is going to be the blocks with the roof garden that's located over there. So block 61, block 65 will have them, block 63 won't have, and you also will have different level elevations for different blocks. So for example, like block 63 will be a 14 stories, then level 65 21st, then level 61 will be on the 23rd. So different heights in terms of the different blocks. But of course, at a glance, we can also notice that this one likelihood is going to have a lot of your big layouts that's going to be here, point block in nature. Then you have the rest of the layouts, the 2, the 3, the 4 bedders are all going to be here. So I think in terms of pros and cons, it's quite well balanced because you do have like privacy that's located down in this block if you need to, just 4 blocks right here. Then of course, this sides you can get to enjoy like the views of the black and white bungalow. So it's like a dual kind of facing as well. So it's a full-fledged condominium facilities because if you look at the unit split, this is also the unit split that's going to be present over there. So you can screenshot this page also to have understanding in terms of the layout facings and you know what facings and which facings that ideally you would want to aim for. Let's say you're aiming for 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms as well. So these are going to be the level 1 facilities. So level 1 is pretty much going to be where your shops, your F&Bs are located at, which is down here. So they have also include a couple of like bike parking spaces, your pet paw washers, your washrooms as well. So this is going to be pretty much your shop spaces that's located down level 1. Then we have level 2, which is actually a full-fledged condominium facilities because I see your 3 pools that's down here. You have a pavilion lounge and you also have a full tennis court that's down here with gymnasium and everything already installed. So still having like a commercial portion but full-fledged condominium facilities as well. So site plan sites, it's also pretty interesting because we do have pets features that's being done up here. So you can also get to see in terms of the pets parking sites, there's also going to be different areas that you can probably wash your pets or even have the pets to kind of like drink. So I think this is pretty interesting to add on. Because if you're looking to invest in this area, chances are the tenant pools are also going to be a huge portion of it. You're going to be looking out for rental play, and I think having a pet-friendly kind of facilities also tend to stand out for tenant pools that might be looking towards a more of a pet-friendly like condominiums as well. So just a recap in terms of the unit types that we can get to see down here. So there will be a total of 358 unit types that's down here. In terms of parking spaces, just to also share, there will be about 40% allocated parking for the residents that's staying here. So it won't be like a one-to-one kind of parking ratio, but that's also pretty common in One North because the idea is that they want to keep this town into more of a car-like town. And then at the same time, majority of it, 50% of it is going to be a 2-bedroom. So chances are your tenant pools, if they do kind of work nearby or study nearby, which there's quite a high chance, then chances are they're not going to drive because there will be shuttle bus that's already provided for the One North region. And as mentioned, there will be also 1 year of shuttle bus service towards One North here as well. So just something to take note of in terms of the unit, number of unit 358, then of course in terms of the parking lots as well. So there's of course different zonings that the developers have also zoned out, like your park connectors, your retail malls, your aqua pools, your social activities, and also your family and children activities that can be done up here as well. So I think in terms of space-wise and facilities enjoyment, it's really quite well segregated. So this is kind of the views that you will get to enjoy when you're staying over there. Then of course, parking spaces here as well. We were just talking about that earlier on. Right, so for the commercial portion that's located down here, there's almost about 7 commercial slots that's located down here in terms of the Bloomsbury Shoppies. Then in terms of parking sites, something to take note is that the public parking as well as residential parkings will be located in the same kind of entrances, but do take note that for commercial kind of public parking, there's only 4 lots that's allocated to public parking. So it's more encouraged for public to actually use these areas through like means of bicycle or through means of like walking rather than driving their cars in here. Then the residential parkings will be located further up. So there will be also level 1 will have residential parkings and basement will have also residential parkings here for you. So just to look at the cross-sectional view. So in terms of parking sites, as we mentioned, residential parking will be here, shared along with public parking, just 4 spaces for public parking. Then residential car parks will be down here or below as well. So the theme and design of the home, as we've seen earlier, is they have a combination of both kind of like a colonial charm versus like a modern luxury. So we can also have a look in terms of like how the map will look like. So this is kind of like a black and white theme kind of bungalow style that's done as their courtyard areas, but also a little bit blend of like modern luxury. So I'd say maybe it has essence of like a park colonial style as well. So this is also going to be where the roof terrace design is going to be like, more or less. So it does really have a very nice taste to it. Then this is going to be the tone in terms of the show flats, in terms of the units that you're going to be getting, because you do have a little bit more earthy tone when it comes to the designs that is here. I think it combines well with the facade as well as the surrounding features. So just to share in terms of like the materials that's been using over here, we have marble look quartz that's being done up on the kitchen and dry kitchen areas. We have your kitchens and bathrooms that's using laminates, as well as vinyl floorings for the bedroom areas, and general floorings are going to be using tiles as well. Branding sites, you're going to have Miele as well as Smack. So these are really good brands, well known for their qualities and also some of their features. So you can also see that they will be actually providing a built-in dishwasher for like the 4-bedroom premium and penthouse. I think that's really nice. Then you also will have their washer and dryer from Smack. Then Miele, in terms of their cooking appliances, you will have gas hobs that are for the 3 and 4 bedroom premiums as well. And you will have ovens from Miele, so I think that's great. Then of course, fittings wise, Hans Grohe and Gerbit, really good brands. So we move on to the floor plan as well as some of the pricing analysis here. So I think one thing that we want to understand first and foremost is also to understand in terms of the break-even price point. So we have a look in terms of the break-even price point from our partners here at HProp. They have predicted it to be around 2,000 ranges for the break-even, but this is of course done before harmonization was there. So in terms of, you know, if you want to harmonize in terms of PSF pricing, then I think you just have to add like a 5% that's done up here. So we have actually harmonized it, so the overall kind of PSF price ranges break even should be around 2001 plus PSF ranges, because this is just an estimate. So 2001 PSF price ranges, and we want to also have a look in terms of the performance that's happening around. So one-off residences, just to orientate us a little bit in terms of where it's located at. So Bloomsbury is actually located around this region, around here. Then in terms of one-off residences, it's located down here. So it's slightly closer towards the one-off MRT station as well as the rest of the one-off region here as well. So we also went back to have a look in terms of their price performance, the profitability, and also the rental. So in terms of profitable transaction sites, we can also have a look in terms of the analyzed gains. Of course, do take note that this is going to be a slightly older project. Lease start date roughly around 2005. So this balance is around 79 years. So we can also see in terms of the annualized gains that they have made and also unprofitable like transactions here as well. Of course, if you were to have a closer look in terms of the unprofitable like transactions, those are actually bought more towards when the market was slightly on the higher side before TDSR implementation was there. A lot of property investors that bought around this region, they definitely do take some time to see before the market went back up again, because back then when TDSR was introduced, of course the HDB condo and landed price index also taken a dip. Right, so I think that's why you get to see a little bit more unprofitable transactions during this region. But in terms of profitable transaction sites, we do see quite a fair bit as well. So I have also gotten a way to actually sort of reset the lease here for us, because ultimately if we were to compare some of these prices, these are also slightly of an older project already. So in terms of their 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom kind of pricing over here, I'm just going to explain a little bit, which is that the 2-bedroom sites are going to be around the $1.8 million ranges, 3-bedroom 2.3, and then 4-bedroom around 2.6. So if we do reset the lease, so for example we take the price, we divide by the remaining number of years, and then we just reset the lease back to 99. We also have a look in terms of their quantum pricing, which is down here, which is going to be around 2.25 for the 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms is going to be 2.88, and then 4 bedrooms is going to be at $3.2 million here. So this is just something for us to take as a marker when we compare some of Bloomsbury Residences pricing here for us as well. So in terms of one-off residences, we can also get to see in terms of their rental transaction volumes that's down here, because chances are if you're investing in this area, you're going to be attracting a good number of tenant pools, and whether or not that's true, we can also have a look in terms of one-off residences rental transactions. So every single month, there seems to be really healthy rental transaction that's also been happening, right? So Normanton Park as well, we have analyze in terms of their average kind of pricing. So you can also see in terms of their 2-bedroom pricing, which is down here. So we have pulled up just probably about the entry level, so 1.5, 2 mil, and 2.8, and we also reset the lease back to have just a bit more fair comparison to Bloomsbury Residences as well. So just to take note and think in terms of some of these prices here that you can have a look. So roughly around the same, because Normanton Park sites still a pretty new kind of developments that's there. So in terms of price range where we reset back, it's still going to be roughly around the same figures over here. So same thing, we had a look in terms of that profitable transaction. There's zero unprofitable. I think Normanton Park has been done very well. I think anybody that has invested there, kudos to you. Healthy amount of annualized gains and unprofitable transactions, so that's great. Rental sites also extremely healthy. The page alone itself, you can get to see the amount of like rental that's been done just on the month of January alone. Blossom by the Parks is also a newly constructed development. So we can also get to see some of the 2-bedroom pricing, 3-bedroom as well as 4-bedroom. So in terms of pricing sites, we can actually see that averagely for some of the resale listings that's in the market or probably sub-sale listings, the 2 bedrooms are hovering around 1.7 to 1.8, which is also aligned in terms of some of the RCR prices here. And when we reset the lease back, like for example, one-off residences, they tend to hit across that $2 million mark ranges. Then in terms of the 3 and 4 bedrooms, they are roughly around the 2 million mid mark, but when you reset them back for one-off, it's going to be hovering closer to 3 mil mark for like some of the 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms pricing. So of course, newer developments such as Momentum Park and Blossom by the Parks, they have a little bit more palatable quantum pricing because throughout the years, developers have also gotten a way to create more efficient layouts, smaller in nature, but a little bit more efficient, and allowing for some of the quantum pricing to actually stay more palatable for audiences. Right, so we can get to see Blossom by the Park is roughly around 1.7, 3 bedrooms about 2.5, and 4 bedrooms around like hovering just about the 3 mil mark. So this is probably some of the pricing that you can get to see in some of the RCR like launches here, for example, like Emerald Katong, and as well as some of like the RCR launches like Ori, which is 99 years in leasehold as well. So these are probably some of the average like price ranges that you can get to see. So back to Bloomsbury Residences here, there are tons of floor plans that's available here as well, but we're just going to break it down into 3 simple floor plans here for you. If you do need more information, definitely contact our team. We'll share a little bit more details for you, but just as an overall kind of analysis, we have a look at the 2 bedroom premium first, which is sized at 673 square feet. So if we take just maybe around a 10+% profit margin range at 2004 kind of PSF price ranges, likelihood that 2 bedroom premiums will launch around like the $1.6 million price ranges. Then also that 2 bedroom plus study will likelihood hover around the 1.6 plus. Then at the same time, if we look at the 3 bedroom premium models, we can also get to see the quantum pricing stretching around the 2.3 kind of ranges. Now, of course, the per square foot pricing that I'm using right now is probably in the middle. In terms of starting entry price per square foot pricing, the developers have actually shared that it's going to be around 2003 PSF ranges for the 2 bedrooms as well as 3 bedroom sites. But just for calculation sakes, we have buffered a little bit more so that you can also be prepared when you head down for the show flat. So it's around $1.6 million like ranges. And you can also get to see some of the 3 bedrooms, likelihood they will hover around the $2.3 million mark. Then for the 4 bedroom sites, is roughly around the $2.8 million mark. So I think overall in terms of pricing sites, if you just want to have a look in terms of like the surrounding RCR area regions. So for example, like you have your Emerald Katong, which is just down here. I think averagely their PSF price ranges range anything between like 2.6 kind of PSF price range. Then of course you have Ori, which is located here, so roughly around 2007 kind of PSF price ranges. Then of course you have a couple of like the west side developments like Blossom by the Parks, that's roughly around here. There's roughly around here. Yeah, that has been done at around 2005 PSF to 2006 PSF kind of ranges on average. So I think anything that you sort of like transact around at 2004 kind of PSF price ranges is still kind of a safe margin when we look at some of the RCR price. But also one thing to take note of, that I think in terms of if you're looking for kind of investment value is also to understand, because we have capital growth as something that we consider as a pricing appreciation, and also rental as something that we consider as an investment as well. So understanding these two, capital as well as rental, we have a look in terms of like the profitability margin for projects that's happening around. Momentum Park has performed really well. We have one-off residences that has seen the market's ups and downs, but in terms of profitability sites, you can also get to see that they have been doing decently well. And also in terms of Blossom by the Park, how does this sort of like new launch set the benchmark pricing, because chances are this is also going to be part of your competitor in years to come. In terms of profitability and capital growth, I think the data shows that it's still considered something that's healthy, but I think what is really, really healthy is going to be in terms of its rentability that's down here. Because in terms of rentability sites, we can see some of like the 2 bedrooms over here doing about 4,000 plus kind of rental yield. So if let's say you were to purchase a 2 bedrooms, a slightly smaller model, the price entry is roughly around the 1.3 plus ranges, that will pull up the monthly mortgage around like the 3,000 plus. So this is probably the one of the new launch here that there might be a possibility for you to get to enjoy a positive kind of rental flow if you're looking for that kind of investment models, because as new launches gets more and more expensive nowadays, the rental doesn't really follow along sometimes, and it might be hard to actually see some of the positive like cash flow. So I think this is one of the projects here that you still can get to see that and still be able to sort of preserve your wealth in terms of capital appreciation. So I think in overall conclusion sites, we're just going to pull out some of the numbers here for you. This is going to be like the indicative price point that Bloomsbury Residences is going to have a look. So that 2 bedroom 1.3 plus, 3 bedroom 2.1, and 4 bedroom at $2.8 million ranges. So if we have a look in terms of their new launches or some of the resale properties around and resetting the lease back to 99 years, I think the price point sites is definitely going to be something that's attractive. Of course, like new launch sites, everything is also dependent a little bit on your ballot number. So I think if you were to enter into some of the entry price level, it's definitely going to be a safe distance away from some of the resale projects here. So that also ensures that in terms of investment methodology, when you come back and you hit the resale market, there's still a sort of a margin here for you to explore to also gain when it hits the resale market. So overall, I think in terms of rentability side, it's definitely going to be something that you get to see a lot from these developments here, especially a combination of both live work play, like we showed you earlier on, and also in terms of capital growth sites. Also do take note in terms of the price disparity when you're coming down to the show flat here. So with that, we kind of end the new launch studio review series. If you do need a little bit more details in terms of Bloomsbury Residences, do also contact our teams and our listing managers. We're more than happy to share a little bit more details here with you. But if not, my name is Sean, and see you guys on the next episode. Bye.